Hey, what's going on? How y'all doing? So, I'm gonna call this video. I don't know what I'm gonna call this video, but basically, the point of this video is examining if the media, specifically the conservative media, you know, really likes sports. And I asked that question because I'm just trying to understand, like, why they never talk about games. Okay, so you can say whatever you want about ESPN and how ESPN has done a bad job with sports in general, bringing all these politics into it. Um, One thing ESPN still has is Sports Center. You can say what you want about these debate shows. Most of the time, they're still debating sports. When you look at like conservative sports personalities, when are they talking about sports? Like games. They talk about major personalities in sports that hate hate conservative values or hate white people or whatever. Like they cover the WNBA not because of the games, but because they hate on Caitlin Clark. They cover the NBA not because of the games, but they because they load manage or uh, they take too many threes or some abstract reason to like just say that they don't want to support the NBA anymore or hip hop culture, whatever. Baseball probably is the most conservative sport, and it doesn't seem like most conservative people even want to cover that. What was it? What were they talking about in baseball? A torpedo bat. That's they don't want to talk about how the Dodgers got off to a 6-0 start, or the Yankees swept their first. They don't want to talk about the games. They just talk about something that's kind of like going on in sports that's like really has nothing to do with the game. And I'm just like, you gotta ask yourself at some point, if they're gonna do this all the time, uh, do they actually care about the game? At the very least, if you watch liberal ESPN Sports Center, they're still going to cover what happened for the most part. And they don't do it the right way, and they don't cover it the way they used to cover it, but they're covering it better than conservative media. There is not an entity out there right now that just gives you the games, okay, like that just gives you the games. Just give you the games, a little bit of a breakdown, and just like who are the best players, and just move on to the next game, like they used to, man. That's why I fell in love with ESPN. That's why. And if conservative media wanted to like take the culture back or whatever, how about just cover the games the way they used to be covered and introduce us to people who are doing well in sports that are not being covered. Man, I think that would go a long way with a lot of dying the wool sports fan. But this weird obsession of just like covering these off the field media debates like this LeBron versus Stephen A. Smith, and it's just not interesting to me at all. I just it's just not. I, like Stephen A. Smith going on all these podcasts and like talking about Bronny James and blah 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 blah. I, I just don't care that much about Bronny James. The only reason why I comment on Bronny James is just because he's getting all this attention, and people are trying to make it seem like he's so much better than he is, and he's not. And then you remind people of that, and then they say, "Oh, he's the 55th pick," and it just becomes this big discussion that people can just jump on, and it's just dumb. It's just like, why are we talking about this guy? And this is why I didn't want LeBron to do what he did, because he makes him a story, and he shouldn't be. And we should be talking like we talk more about Bronny James than we do Nikola Jokic. It's really kind of crazy. Nikola Jokic is the best player in the NBA, or the Giannis Antetokounmpo. Uh, like it's just like major stars in small markets that nobody wants to talk about. Y'all rather talk about Bronny James. Like, that's insane, dude. If I ever get any money, or if I ever get any like any sort of backing, I swear I'll bring back 24-hour news coverage of like sports, like just raw, hardcore sports, instead of these stupid talking points about dumb stuff that just does not matter. I mean, these just debate shows about just stupid things that just don't make any sense whatsoever. And then like you just pick these like big personalities that just kind of bandwagon and just make them just more bigger than they are. Same thing with Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders just got like a $54 million contract, and everybody's talking about it. And it's just like they're saying how much he deserved it because he turned Colorado around, but they won't get into exactly like what he has done as far as okay, you're saying you turned the program around. He should be one of the highest paid coaches, but the best record that you had was 9-3, 9-4 after the bowl game, and you are losing your best quarterback. You're losing your best athlete. You have no player like Travis Hunter on the team now. So I'm not saying you're not going to have good players, but you lost basically two top five picks on a bad team, on an average, on an above average team. Where are those type of players on your team now? They don't seem to exist. So like they don't give us that type of breakdown. If you're gonna talk about these people, at least like break these things down from a sports standpoint. Don't make it seem like we only need to talk about them from like a financial and marketing standpoint. I don't care about how much. I mean, contracts are one thing, but I don't care about like how many T-shirts these people are selling, how many uh, admissions that they're bringing in to a school. These are basketball, football, hockey, baseball coaches, man. Wins and losses, bro. That's all that really should matter. So I'm just kind of frustrated about, but like I said, I'm just kind of frustrated by the fact that they just don't want to talk about games at all, like at all. It was a good Denver versus Minnesota game today. I caught it coming into work today. Caught the tail end. It went to double overtime. Jokic had a 60-point triple double. They're not going to talk about it because they consider Jokic boring. If LeBron would have done something like that, they'd be all over it. They'd be saying how whatever it was great, and if he would have done something like that, he would have deserved it. But I'm just saying that it's just kind of crazy that they just won't let the greatness. just shine, and they just want to pick people that they want to just market. I just think that's kind of crazy. Anyway, uh, I mean, who are the conservative people that like when football season ends, because they'll talk football. When football season ends, these people have no idea what's going on in sports. They have no clue what's going on in sports. Their mentality is like football is the most popular thing, so we'll know a little bit about that. But other than that, we don't need to know anything that's going on in the sports world. Dude, football is a 5 month, 5.5 month season. Like you gotta cover other sports other than that. Like I just don't get it, man. This doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, just as a sports lover or a sports enthusiast, you would think that you would be somewhat curious about just some of the games that are going on, and some of these people are just not. It's just the way they cover it. You just gotta wonder if they even care about sports at all. Like they just it doesn't seem like it. It doesn't seem like they're real fans. They carry themselves as experts, but they just don't watch the games. If you're not watching the games, you don't know what's going on. How are you an expert? Just a cat. Like even if you were watching like one local game and just kind of following the highlights of every other game, at least you know kind of what's going on. Because you're watching your team and you're seeing your team play against all the other teams. So you have some sort of kind of idea of how good certain teams are or whatever, or how good your team is. You can kind of talk about it. They don't even do that. It's just so bad now. I don't know. Anyway, with and the way people do things on social media, man, these guys that are in front of the camera, they just feel like they don't have to like watch sports. They don't have to follow sports. They have people that do the research for them, and they just say what they need to say in front of the camera, and then that's that. They're not really interested in doing any legwork at all, just for fun, just because, oh man, I just like sports. So is that even legwork if you like actually are a fan of sports? So anyway, there are good independent uh, content creators who do cover sports in a real way. So I would recommend those people because I don't know if they're just picking topics to just kind of act like they know sports, to just kind of bandwag off of just off of like a clip or a viral social media clip. They're not real sports fans, man. They're not real sports fans. They're not experts. I if you're watching them for sports content, I wouldn't recommend them. Real sports fans care about the itty gritty of sports, from the draft to the off season to the actual season and obviously the postseason. They're in it. They're covering it day by day. They're seeing who's doing well, not doing well, who's falling off, who's ascending. If they're not covering sports like that, you need to leave these people alone. They're just popping in to just kind of criticize or jump on the bandwagon, positive or negative, and then they don't really know anybody. If they don't really know like all the players or all the aspects of like the games that they watch, why are you watching them, dude? They don't care. They're just here to talk about one player act like they know what's going on, and then that's it. Ask all these like conservative media people who entered the transfer portal. They ask these so-called conservative basketball experts or whatever. Who are the two players that St. John's got this week in the transfer portal? Who did St. John's lose in the transfer portal that was a big time player for them? They probably wouldn't even know. Like it's crazy, bro. Anyway, maybe hopefully I can get some bread together and create some sort of network where they can we can get back to just covering sports the way it's supposed to be covered. Shout out to all the people who still cover sports the way it's supposed to be covered. I thank y'all for listening. Y'all have a good day.